Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Eric in Colorful Code. From previous video that I've introduced that how to migrate the my application from SaaS server Heroku to Oracle our own VPS free tier, and we could run our own database. We restore our database from the Heroku, and we also could run the server. The development server on our VPS. And today, we are moving to the next step to deploy our application onto the production server. So there are some differences between the built-in Django developers development server and the production server. And if you are interested in some detailed difference between these two, and then you can just check out the documentation or some video on the YouTube. And in this video, I'm just focused on the practical part instead of to introduce what is the difference between the development server and the production server. Okay, so now I am going to introduce the flow of today's video. And okay, so there are two sections. The first one is Nginx. We will need the Nginx installed, and we will, I think from previous lesson, we've already installed this one. And the next one is we also need the Gunicorn. And then Gunicorn is a kind of the server between the Nginx and Django. And why do we need this one is that the Django is not able to handle the static file. If we want to handle the static file, we will need the Nginx server to route the specific request to fetch the static file. Otherwise, for the normal script or normal request, we will need to go through the Django path and then get the dynamic files. That is what we need. Okay, so static, dynamic. Okay, so the firstly, let's get back to we will need to firstly, let's go into our terminal, and then this is my working directory, and we are not going to use this directory as a production directory. We are going to move this directory to a certain system-wise directory as a production part. So we are going to use this. Copy this one to we will need R. Copy this one to var www. This one, and then after you hit enter, you will be able. We will move this folder to our developer the system-wise folder. Okay, I've already moved that, so I just demo it to you. Okay, let's get, and then we can get into the folder. And as you can see, now this folder directory has already been moved to here, and then we can see the detail inside that. Okay, that's it. And the next part is the very important part. For those of you, the first part, we will need to let the Nginx know which route we will need to we want the traffic to get the static file. So firstly, we will need to modify our Nginx file. And then we go to sites available. I assume that you have already have some knowledge of Nginx. Okay, and then here I have already created a setting file as my domain name. So I will just need to modify the config file by sudo vim or any other your favorite editor. I think I did this some typo. Let me do it. Sudo vim blog colorful live demo. Okay, so that's it. I will also put this file, the config file, on the description. I mean on this tab. So we will just need to use this one and then pass it into here. So some important part I will need to address is here and here. as I mentioned that Nginx only handle the static file. So we will need to let Nginx know where the static file go through to fetch. So here is our static file directory. So you need to make sure this is correct and this is correct. Okay. So this will be pointing to the Django settings static root. So let's go to the here. As you might be able to see the setting file here, and then in the setting file you will be able to see there is a static root here. So as you can see here, the static root is the base dir and then this assets. So the base dir is this one. Remember that we have already moved all the folder to this directory. So this one will be the base directory, and then we also move the static file will be the assets folder under this one. Okay. So once you have this done, and then everything, the static file can be handled by Nginx automatically. Okay. Let's go back. Okay, and the next one is the Gunicorn. So from our previous video, we used the Python run manage py run server, right? This one can open our development server and then run it on whatever port we want. But in this case, we are not going to use the development server, so we are going to use this one, the Gunicorn, which is a WSGI service to handle all the traffic to Django. Okay, so just make sure that you have already installed the Gunicorn. You can check it by the pip list. Before that, you will need to get into your virtual environment. Sorry that I forgot it. Okay, and then pip list here, and make sure that you have Gunicorn here, or yes, here, or you can check which Gunicorn to see which directory of the Gunicorn that we are using. So you can see here the Gunicorn is under our virtual environment here. Okay, and now it's very easy. We can just very simply run the Gunicorn, and then use the, let me think about it. We need to get into, just a minute. Let's make it a little bit bigger, and then get into our working directory. Okay. And then we are going to use Gunicorn, and I believe it's application name .wsgi, and well, let's see, this one should be, let's see our source code. We need to address where the WSGI file located. Well, here. Okay, so that's right? So it's under the knowledge box .wsgi, and then we need to point out the application here. So it will be application. That's it. And then as soon as you hit enter, the Nginx will start running on the local host. Not Nginx, the Gunicorn will start running on 8000 port of localhost. So this is just now everything is done. So this is our production server running on the localhost 8000. But we are not going to only use this one, right? Because as soon as we close this terminal or close this service process, and then all the server will be down. So we need to make a Linux service to make it executed forever. So let's go to our systemd folder. So So we are heading into etc and system and system D and system, and we will create a touch. We probably name it color for live blog.service, and then we hit enter. I actually have already created, so I don't hit enter for now. We can just check. Okay, and then you can see the one I created is here, and then we can edit the file and then put the config file inside config file inside there, config content inside there. Here and colorful live blog.service. Okay, and here, this one I have done it before. I will also put it on the description. I mean on the tab here. You can copy this one and then paste it on your service. Okay, so let me briefly explain what is the different, what is the definition of each fields. And the first one is description. It doesn't make any big deal. And then user will be the username of you in the Linux. And then the working directory is the one that is our Django project, right? The one we have already moved from our working directory to the global-wise directory. And then the next one is the execute start. This one is the most important section. Remember that we execute the Gunicorn with this command, and then we run that on localhost. We run our server on localhost, but now localhost 8000. But now we are not going to have it on the 8000 port. We are going to have it on 3002 port. So if we use this tag, we can point specific port that we want the Gunicorn run on. Okay, so we point it on the 3002. And then next one is also kind of important. We need to make sure that the service can be executed anytime, forever. So if this means that this unfailure means that as soon as anything goes wrong on this Django server, we will restart the service right away after 1 second. Okay, and we need to have this one installed. So that's all. And then now we can just quit this one and then use the sudo system control and enable this one color this service blog.service, and then it will create a symbolic link between this service and our system. Okay, I've already done that, so I just demoed it to you already only. And then we use the sudo system ctl start color for live blog, and then as soon as we hit enter, and then the Nginx, I mean not Nginx, the Gunicorn will start running. I've already done that, so I just demoed this to you again. Okay, so that's all. That's all we need to do for making this on the production server. Okay, so here, let's go back to our Nginx file to see to explain more detail about the routing things, internet routing things. PC Nginx sites double. Oops. Okay, we get into this one. Okay, let me explain a little bit. So this one, there are two sections. One is this. Just forget about this section as well as this section, because this section is created by the Serbot SSL. But if you don't use Serbot, or you don't use any SSH, you don't need to have that. You will only have this. Okay, we just use this one. It's much simpler. Okay, so there are two sections. The first one is the /static, and then another location is /. So as we just did, as long as user get into the home directory, and it will be routed to this port 3002. So remember that we have made the Gunicorn service on the 3002, so it will handle all that traffic. And then as long as that there is a static file, it will be appended as a static URL. So you might be able to see here, there is a static URL section in our setting here. So it means that as long as there is any request to try to fetch the static file, it will add this prefix onto the URL. Okay, so I will demo this one to you. Like as you might be able to see that there will be just a second. Okay, you can see here asset, and then you can see here is the test as the test JavaScript file under asset. So it will be something like colorful live /static /test.js, and then you will be able to access this one. So this is the meaning of here. So as soon as the static file request from HTTP, and then it will go to this folder to fetch static file. So finally the application will be like this. The static file go through here, blog.colorfullive.mo/static will go to here. And on the other hand, if it is not static, it is normal logic and dynamic logic, it will go to here. So this is the meaning of the setting. This is the detail of the setting inside the Nginx of these two locations. Okay, so let's go to this section here. We can check if it is working now. Well, not this one, it's pages. Okay, so everything is working fine now, and then we can see the static file, the detail of the static file, where to get the static file. This is okay here, and we will be able to see the no, probably not this one. We check this one. Okay, good. Oh, this one is rendered by Cloudinary, so we also don't use this. Well, probably this one. This one is default static file. I think this one will be rendered in our static folder. Okay, cool. So you can see here, right? The static wagtail admin and user. So when we copy this one and paste it here, and then put it like blog.colorfullive.mo, and then we will be able to see this static file. So that's pretty cool. So I think you've already got the idea how to deploy the Django CMS onto the production server by Nginx as well as Gunicorn. So you can do it anytime. You can try it on your virtual machine. Okay, so thanks for watching. See you next time.